Hey everybody, this is Jason Creel, and the weed you saw in the thumbnail on this video is called American burnweed. It is annoying and it's very common in the springtime, and in this video I'm not only going to tell you how to kill it, I'm actually going to show you by killing it in a lawn today in this video. Let's get started right now. Today's video is sponsored by my friends at Yardbook. If you're in the lawn care business and need a software, go to yardbook.com. So let's show you the problem weed, American burnweed. And it sometimes is just take over a yard. So you see it right here. It may go by other names, but we call it burnweed. It's very common in spring. And one of the things that's difficult about this weed is what they say is it germinates in the thatch. So oftentimes, if you were to reach down here and pull it up, it's probably going to pull up very easily. You know, not a whole lot of roots there. And so sometimes, this being a cool season weed, we try to control those with a fall pre-emergent application. Unfortunately, this particular weed is challenging control even with a properly timed fall pre-emergent application. Now, I've started using Specticle Flo in the fall, and I've noticed a considerable difference in the amount of burnweed I'm seeing in the lawns I take care of, meaning less burnweed. But even with Specticle Flo, oftentimes you may still get American burnweed in the yard. The good news is that it is fairly easy to control. Let's talk through how to control American burnweed, and then I'm going to spray this lawn. We're going to watch this burnweed as it wilts and compare it with some burnweed that has not been sprayed. So this grass was mowed about 2 days ago, and there's some burnweed that was popping up, and I purposely left this burnweed unmowed because I wanted to spray it while it was, you know, not where you could see it easily without it being cut with a lawnmower. But you can see there's some over here that has been ran over with a lawnmower. Now it's going to probably grow back. So what I want to do is spray this section. It's a long strip that has not been cut. I want to spray this section and then compare that with some of the burnweed that's going to be in this same area that has not been sprayed. And so we'll be able to observe and see, you know, how quickly this stuff dies based on the application we're doing today. All right, so sometimes from a business standpoint, if a customer gets burnweed in their yard, you want something that's going to work fast, because they can pop up and they got a lot of burnweed. So I like to use a product called Checkup. Now lately I've been mixing two products together, Checkup and metsulfuron. The metsulfuron comes under the bottle name Manor. So Manor and Checkup, and I'm using very low rates of both of them. 1/4 ounce of metsulfuron per acre, 1/4 ounce per acre. You heard me right, that's a very low amount. And on the Checkup, 12 ounces per acre. So sometimes people watch these videos, I get a comment, so-and-so says, oh, I'm not spending, you know, such and such amount of dollars on my lawn. But what they don't realize that, yes, the bottle might be expensive buying a product, but that bottle probably is going to go a long way, especially if you're out there spot treating. So the Checkup and the metsulfuron, I can put links in the description to those products, but I'm just telling you what I'm using. There's other products you can use. There's a lot of products that's going to kill American burnweed. Not terribly difficult weed to control with a post-emergent standpoint. But what I like about Checkup is it works fast. So I'm going to spray it. Oftentimes if I spray weed, once the weather starts warming up in the 80s, if I spray some broadleaf weeds, typically and many times by the next day there'll be noticeable wilting. Now we'll see if that happens with the burnweed. Burnweed may be a little slower, but I would expect to get some pretty serious action within a few days, and we're going to keep watching it on this video to see how it compares what I sprayed with what has not been sprayed. So let's get started spraying. I've got Checkup and metsulfuron in there. I think just the Checkup alone, and you could definitely go more than 12 ounces. That's a very low rate. Probably if you're going to go with just Checkup alone to kill burnweed, you could go to 16 ounces. Check the label and make sure that it's labeled for your grass type, but Checkup is labeled for many warm season and cool season lawns. On this Bermuda lawn, we could go well over 16 ounces per acre, but like I said, I'm going with just 12 ounces per acre and the metsulfuron. If you use more, it may work a little faster, but I feel pretty confident that it's going to control it, even at those very low rates. And one of the things I like about the Checkup metsulfuron combo, me being in the south, I can use it on Bermuda grass, zoysia grass, St. Augustine grass, centipede grass. At those low rates, I can use it on all four of those grass types. And like I said, you can also use that, check the label, make sure it's labeled for your grass type, but I know they're also labeled for some cool season grasses also as well. didn't take long at all, obviously. We'll come back and check on the results. Now, if you're mixing this in a handheld sprayer or a backpack sprayer, I would go with 3/4 of an ounce of change up per gallon of water and then just spray it lightly. I've also added surfactant, so the surfactant is going to help it stick to the leaf of the plant so the plant can take in the herbicide. It'll be more effective. So 3/4 of an ounce per gallon of water and spray it lightly. If you know you like to spray heavier, then put less in there than that, but that's what I like to do, and spray it lightly so that your backpack sprayer or your handheld sprayer will go further, and really all you're doing is spraying it until you get the leaves wet. We'll check on the results soon. So it's been 24 hours. I want to show you what the burnweed looks like and show you an interesting observation with the burnweed compared to some other weeds. All right, American burnweed. Here it is. Still not a whole lot of noticeable stuff going on, to be honest with you. Now that one looks a little bit more damaged. There's some that are kind of wilting up, but what you notice is there wasn't a whole lot of other weeds in here, but the other weeds seem to be showing more wilting. Like, look at this thing here. It's like a geranium, and look how it's wilting. You're looking at the bottom side of the leaf there. So it seems like the work's better on those. Now, that one you see the leaves beginning to wilt. Again, this is 24 hours later. This tall weed, you can see it's wilting. But I guess the burnweed, in a sense of wilting compared to some of the other broadleaf weeds out here, it's not wilting quite as much. So let's see if we can find a little bit more. So, you know, anyway, not horribly noticeable results on these. So yeah, 24 hours in, we'll give it a little bit more time, keep checking on it. And I don't know if I mowed it right now, would it grow back or not? I really don't know. But I want to give it more time before I break the lawnmower out, and then we'll compare it with over here with these that were mowed but have not been sprayed. We'll check back soon. So the initial application was done on a Thursday afternoon, I believe. It's now Monday morning, so maybe 3.5 days since the initial application. You can see where the burnweed is starting to wilt and taking effect. Still slower than some of the other weeds. You know, if we'd went with a higher rate, perhaps it would have been faster. But you can tell it's not doing very well. Looking kind of rough. Let's see if we can find some more examples. You see this other tall weeds wilting over here. Leaves are starting to wilt. And what I want to do, maybe not today, but in a few days, I want to cut the grass, because ultimately that's what I'm going for. Can I cut the grass and have the burnweed not come back? And I think that's what's going to happen, because I think the plant is sick and dying. It's not going to vanish in thin air. But I do think if you cut the grass, I don't believe these are going to grow back. Let's see over here where I did cut the grass and did not spray. You can see where the burnweed is growing back pretty healthy. It's got some leaves that have been cut off from the lawnmower. If you mow it, you know, several times, eventually it will just go away. I believe it'll just be gone. But I believe this area that I did spray, I think I can mow that one time and it won't come back. So that's what we're going to do to continue the video. And one day this week I'll mow and get it, and then we'll check to see if it grows back or not. It's been about 5.5 days since we did the initial application. Let's see what it looks like now. You see the wilting process is continuing. Looking really sad. Some more examples. I think what I'm going to do now is cut the grass. Will be the next part of this video, and then we'll compare what's been cut, what was sprayed and mowed versus what was mowed and not sprayed. Because let's show you some examples of the ones that were cut but not sprayed. You see the difference in the color and how they're, you know, just look like a healthier plant versus these that have been sprayed. So my expectation is these will not come back once they're mowed, but I want to try that out and show it on video. So we'll do that next. I'm gonna cut the rest of the yard, and we're gonna compare the burnweed in the areas that's been sprayed with what hasn't been sprayed. All right, final checkup on the burnweed. It's been several days since I cut the grass back here. I want to show you what it looks like. I'm actually show you a few different things. So this is part that I did not cut and did not spray. So you can see healthy burnweed, and we've been quite dry lately. Had a little bit of a drought situation, but the burnweed is still growing, still green, and you know, there's some larger weeds here. So I'm doing what burnweed does, just being annoying. Now you look over here, this was the path that I sprayed, and after, as we showed in the video, I did cut it after spraying it, not immediately after. And so as I walk down this strip, like I did not cut this strip, but I cut this strip, I literally don't see any burnweed. Now I'm going to keep walking and we'll see if we can find some burnweed, because we know it was here. It's just when you spray it, it wilts, and then you mow it, this is what happens. It just doesn't come back. Again, there's the part that was not cut, and you get in here, that looks like it was probably mowed but not sprayed. So let me see if I can find some in the path that we both sprayed and mowed and see what it looks like. All right, there's one example. You see, I had to really look to find some, and that it's continuing to deteriorate, and when you cut it, it's not growing back very much. Let's see if I can show you another example. There's another small one there. I'm cutting my grass at 1.5 inches, so it's barely as high as the grass, just not coming back. So again, if I walk this whole line, this whole strip where I mowed, and I'm working on getting the Bermuda to fill in back here, but you're basically not going to see any visible burnweed. Now, one thing to keep in mind is burnweed does not like lawnmower. So if you just cut the grass, I'm out here a little further, and you can see burnweed that has been cut but not sprayed. And so just cutting it with the lawnmower definitely helps. As a matter of fact, if you just cut it 2 or 3 times, a lot of times it'll go away. So there's not a lot of burnweed visible out here, but in the path that was sprayed, you know, I see virtually no burnweed, not just burnweed, any kind of broadleaf weed. It's like I said, they're wilting. You mow them off, they don't come back. They're virtually unseen at that point. And if this was nice, thick, healthy Bermuda instead of thin, you know, Bermuda that's trying to fill in, then you sure enough would not see the weeds, or you'd have to look extra close to be able to find them. So that's it. I think Change Up is a great product for this situation. You use it on cool season grasses, warm season grasses. Obviously check the label, make sure it's a label for your grass type. It's relatively inexpensive when you're applying it, and it works fast. So on a weed like burnweed, you spray it, give it a couple days, it's wilted, you cut the grass, and most of it's not going to come back. So I consider that an overwhelming success. Thanks for watching the video. If you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel, and also if you want to get in the weed control and fertilization business, you can go to lawncarelife.com. There's a lot of resources available for you there. Or you can check out these suggested videos popping up for you now. We'll see you guys in the next video.